You're trying to get an avoidant to see your worth. And without realizing it, you may be doing the one thing that guarantees they never will. The more you explain yourself, stay emotionally available, or try to show how much you care, the less they seem to value you. What feels like love, patience, and maturity on your side quietly registers as pressure on theirs. And that pressure shuts something down that you desperately want turned on, their ability to truly see you. If you've ever been close to someone avoidant, this probably feels confusing. One moment they were warm, present, and engaged. The next, they pulled back, shut down, or disappeared emotionally. After the breakup or emotional distance, you're left replaying everything, wondering how someone could attach so fast, like what you shared didn't matter. Naturally, you try to fix it. You explain your feelings more clearly. You soften your tone. You give space, but not really, because you're still checking if they've noticed. And the harder you try to be seen, the more invisible you feel. Research in attachment psychology from the University of California shows that avoidant people don't process emotional closeness the same way anxious or secure people do. When emotional closeness increases, their nervous system doesn't register connection. It registers demand. When that demand disappears, their body feels relief. And here's the part most people don't understand. While an avoidant is in relief mode, they are not evaluating your value. They are not reflecting on what they lost. Their system is focused on one thing only: staying calm and unburdened. I see this pattern every day with people who come to me feeling confused and rejected. They say things like, "I did everything right. I communicated clearly. I stayed calm. I didn't beg or chase. Why couldn't they see me?" And what's happening underneath is always the same. They're still emotionally oriented toward the avoidant. They're still waiting to be chosen, still hoping to be recognized. Meanwhile, the avoidant feels calm with distance and assumes leaving was the right decision, not because the other person lacked worth, but because their nervous system finally feels quiet. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why avoidant people can't truly see your worth while you're still emotionally focused on them, and what internal shift actually activates their ability to recognize your value without chasing, proving, or losing yourself. Most people believe that if they just give an avoidant space, things will change. So they stop texting. They pull back slightly. They try to look unbothered. But internally, nothing has shifted. They're still checking their phone constantly, still watching social media stories, still wondering what the avoidant is thinking, doing, feeling. This is where the critical mistake happens. Avoidant people are not responding to your behavior alone. They are responding to emotional expectation. As long as your emotional world is still organized around them, they feel it, even in complete silence. This is why reminding an avoidant of the relationship almost always backfires. When you send a thoughtful message, share a meaningful memory, or explain how much the connection meant, you think you're showing depth and value. But to an avoidant nervous system, what registers is access. Your emotional availability tells them they can still reach you without cost. And when access is easy and constant, there is no reason to reflect, no sense of loss, and no space for your worth to register. Many people say, "But I gave them space." When we look closer, that space is only physical. Emotionally, they're still waiting, still hoping, still adjusting their mood around whether the avoidant might come back. That's not detachment. That's silent pursuit. And avoidants are highly sensitive to that pull, even when no words are exchanged. As long as you are emotionally waiting, your worth stays invisible, not because it isn't real, but because their system is still focused on relief, not recognition. The distinction that changes everything. This leads to one of the most important distinctions you can understand. Absence is external, but detachment is internal. Absence is something you do. Detachment is something you become. And without internal detachment, no amount of silence, distance, or self-control creates a shift that allows an avoidant to truly see you. The shift that changes everything happens when you stop organizing your emotional life around them. Not to get a reaction, not to seem strong, but because you no longer need them to validate your worth. This is real detachment. You stop waking up hoping for a message. You stop reading meaning into their silence. You stop needing them to understand what they lost in order for you to feel okay. Your emotional center moves back to you. Here's what this looks like. Sarah came to me 6 weeks after her avoidant ex ended things. She'd gone no contact, but every decision was still about him. She chose outfits thinking he might see her. She posted on Instagram at times he'd be online. She joined a gym near his apartment hoping for a chance encounter. The real shift happened when she genuinely stopped caring whether he saw her progress. She moved her workouts to a gym she actually preferred. She posted photos because they made her happy. She stopped tracking his digital footprint entirely. That's when her energy completely changed. And that's when he reached out 3 weeks later. Avoidant people are not triggered by distance. They are triggered by expectation. When expectation disappears, something unexpected happens. During the relationship, closeness often felt like responsibility to them, even healthy closeness. After the breakup, continued emotional availability keeps that same pressure alive. But when you truly detach, there is no pressure to manage and no emotional demand to escape. For the first time, closeness feels optional instead of heavy. And safety is the only state in which an avoidant can reflect. When they feel safe, their nervous system slows down enough to notice what's missing. This is when curiosity begins. They start wondering why you're not reaching out, why you seem grounded, why you're no longer emotionally pulled toward them. That curiosity is not about ego. It's about disruption. The emotional pattern they relied on is gone. Avoidant people unconsciously expect a familiar script after distance or breakup. They expect the other person to reach out, seek clarity, stay emotionally available, or quietly wait. That script allows them to stay in relief mode. When you don't follow it, when you disengage calmly and completely, their internal story breaks. There's no emotional chaos to blame, no pressure to escape, just absence and quiet. And quiet is uncomfortable for avoidance in a different way. Without pressure to run from, they are left with reflection. This is when they begin to recognize what your presence actually added to their life. Not because you demanded it, not because you explained it, but because the emotional safety net is gone. This shift also changes the power dynamic. In many anxious avoidant connections, the avoidant holds the power by controlling closeness. The other person waits, reacts, and adjusts themselves to maintain connection. Detachment ends that dynamic. You're no longer waiting. You're no longer reacting. You're no longer organizing your emotions around their behavior. Emotional independence is deeply attractive to avoidant people because it doesn't threaten their sense of self. Connection stops feeling like a trap when it no longer feels consuming. This is why many avoidant exes begin to test a connection after real detachment sets in. They may send a casual message, check in unexpectedly, act curious but distant. This is not the moment to rush emotionally. It's the moment to stay grounded. You respond warmly but without urgency, present but not consuming, interested but not invested. This shows them something critical. Closeness with you does not cost freedom. Over time, this rebuilds trust in a way no conversation ever could. The truth no one wants to hear. There's something important that most people won't tell you. This shift does not guarantee that an avoidant will come back. And that's not a failure. That's clarity. Because detachment is not about control. It's about self-respect. If an avoidant is capable of recognizing loss, regulating fear, and choosing connection, detachment gives them the space to do that. If they're not, detachment protects you from waiting in emotional limbo. Either way, you stop abandoning yourself to keep someone comfortable. The paradox is simple but powerful. The moment you stop trying to be seen is the moment your worth becomes visible. Not because you disappeared, but because you chose yourself. You're no longer shrinking, proving, or over-functioning to feel chosen. You are grounded, emotionally independent, self-respecting. And that energy, calm, steady, whole, is the only energy an avoidant nervous system doesn't run from. Making an avoidant see your worth is not about silence, games, or disappearing dramatically. It's about freedom. Freedom from overthinking. Freedom from waiting. Freedom from needing someone else to confirm your value. And paradoxically, that freedom is exactly what allows an avoidant to finally see you clearly. Not because you chase them back, but because you stop chasing yourself away.